Hello, Leander. Thank you so much for sharing your post and for being vulnerable and sharing about how you grew up with your family. I also grew up in a family where alcohol abuse and addiction, period, were ran rampant, I should say. Although when I was very little, I didn't really consider that. I thought everybody, all adults, drank like that. I had no idea that you're not supposed to drink at a kid's party. Um, we don't now, but at the growing up, I did. However, I do disagree with your assessment that um, hered- hereditary and genetics are the most responsible for causing addiction. And the reason I disagree with that is because even in my own family, which I've shared already, that we grew up around alcohol and around all kinds of drugs. Honestly, even with that, my father was actually a heroin addict, and so were some of my uncles. Um, I never witnessed him doing heroin because he died when I was 3 weeks old. But if genetics is such a big factor, then that would have been in me as well. So the reason I disagree with your statement, not that it's not a factor or an important factor, just not I don't find it the most responsible for causing addiction, is because I have seen multiple people from the same upbringing and the same having the same more or less genetic components, family members grow up and choose different things. Some have chosen to become alcoholics. Some have dabbled in alcohol and drugs, such as myself. I dabbled in alcohol, not in drugs, and then stopped. Um, some have chosen not to drink at all, and some drink socially. So I do believe it is a factor, like I said before, and I totally understand that um, adoptive kids tend to resemble more their biological parents in the sense of addiction rather than their adopted parents. So, but also I know that being around that environment is also a factor. Learned we can learn addiction. I am so grateful that you have been a Christian for over 40 years. Wow, that's amazing, and that you have stuck strong to your convictions and not giving way to the way you were brought up. Hereditary is very, very powerful influence, but I don't believe it's the only, or I won't say the only, but the main factor in addiction. Um, I know that I'm grateful that we can transform our minds, like it says in Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds. So I do believe also that our influences play a factor. I believe that the biggest factor, in my assessment, is lack of godliness, not understanding God, not knowing God, being detached from God, and trying to fill the God-shaped void that we all have. I appreciate your post, and I appreciate your vulnerability and your sharing your story, as well as the quotes that you shared and the scriptures that you shared. Have a blessed day.